Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to share my favorite books that I read this past winter. So I'm going to be talking about my 5-star reads from December, January, and February. I am very excited to share these with you because obviously I highly recommend all of these books. I have 8 books. Well, I have 7 books to talk about and 1 short story to talk about. And yeah, let's just go ahead and dive right in. The first one back from December is The Christmas You Found Me by Sarah Morgenthaler. I loved this adorable romance story, but it definitely has some heavier themes and topics in it. And I think that just correlates to the author's life and what she was going through and why she wanted to write this story. I read this with my Patreon book club, the Night Owl Book Club, and everybody rated it pretty highly. It has a great setting, great characters, and just lots of depth and like family ties. And yeah, it's just really, really adorable. It says Sienna and Napolis family has taken care of their wild Idaho land for generations, and Sienna can't imagine any other life. But at Christmas time, with her painful marriage finally over, and it does have like the divorce and like grieving that, but also ready to be over that, but him constantly coming into her life. It's full of memories and incredibly lonely until a tall, handsome stranger and a little girl walk into her life, and suddenly the holidays are alive again. So it does have the single dad trope, which I really, really liked, and he's just fighting for his daughter's life. You know, he needs money for her medical treatment, and Sienna's friend kind of plays a prank and puts out like an application for a husband, and he actually applies because he needs the money for his daughter. Like I said, adorable, but also very hard-hitting topics. Next up, I want to recommend, there was a short story collection under the Mistletoe collection, and this was number 1 in that collection, and it's Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. I had to look at my phone over here. This one is a second chance romance set over like a snowstorm, but it's also, for it being a short story, it's a slow burn. And I just really, really liked it. It shined above all the others in the collection because the setting felt realistic. The characters were cozy. I felt like I knew them because they had the past history, but just seeing them reconnect, so adorable. Maybe save both of those for winter time, but if you're not a seasonal reader and it doesn't bother you to read things outside of the season, I definitely recommend that, and this one for like a snowy, wintry, you know, landscape. These other ones, not necessarily winter related, but I read them in winter. Next up is The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. Whether you love her or you hate her, I have an up and down relationship with her. I don't think I've hated any of her books, but there are some that I like, there's some that I don't, and this is one that I absolutely loved. My friend Lena from Lena's Bookshelf sent this to me, and she had rated it 5 stars, and I feel like it's rare for Lena to give a book 5 stars, but she rated this 5 stars. I already had it on my wish list. She sent it to me, and I also rated it 5 stars. This one is about this woman, Sydney Shaw, and like every single woman in New York, she has terrible luck with dating. She ends up going out on this date with this guy, and he is like totally different from his profile picture, okay? She doesn't have a good date. She's trying to get out of there. He basically forces to walk her home. So she says, oh, here I am, or whatever. And then he tries to like force himself on her, and this other guy ends up saving her, and that's who she gets in a relationship with. But he seems too perfect, and some of the things about him start reminding her of some things that she's heard in the news about these women in New York being murdered by people that have dated them. And so now she's worried, is my boyfriend a killer? And yeah, it just goes from there. It's told in a past and present timeline, and so you get multiple POVs, and it was just really interesting how it all came together. A lot of people say don't go into these expecting a literary masterpiece, but some of the ways that Freida McFadden spins in social constructs in her story is kind of masterful in my personal opinion, and this one just really like surprised me. So yeah, that's why I gave it 5 stars. Next up, I'm calling it now, this is probably going to be my favorite book of the year, and that is Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. I don't know what, it's hard to explain the thing about this book that really makes me love it. I think it's the relationship between the couple, but it's also, it doesn't have that high of an average star rating on Goodreads. And this is a Reese's Book Club pick, which is also very surprising to me because usually we do not gel. I used to read Rainbow Rowell. She wrote like Eleanor Park. She wrote some other things, Attachments, Eleanor Park, Fangirl, Landline. I also read Carry On. And I also read another, like Midnights. She has a short story or novella called Midnights. And there's another one, I don't remember what it's called, but I haven't personally read Rainbow Rowell in a while, and this just felt like coming home to her writing. And I loved the characters like on their own. They seemed so realistic. They were both dealing with their own like life. They had things going on, but them coming back together. They were friends in high school. They meet at this wedding, and then things just kind of go from there. I loved it so much. I don't even know what to say. It's this beaming power ballad of a novel about a love so true it refuses to be forgotten. I mean, I'm definitely not forgetting it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. You'll hear me talking about this throughout the year because I just can't stop. But it's a really good one. Next up on the list is something that I read for my in-person book club, and I was the unpopular opinion. Most people did not like this book, but I absolutely loved The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I'm a huge fangirl of Catherine Center. I've read a bunch of her books now, and most of them end up being like 5 stars or 4 stars. I have had a couple of 3 stars, but usually on the higher end. This one made me laugh. This one made me cry. This one made me feel all of the things. I truly thought it was like funny and light, and it had slightly some heavier themes in it, but not like too heavy, and it really focused on the romance rather than those heavier themes and topics. I don't know why they didn't like it. Like, I still don't understand why they disliked it, and they don't understand why I liked it. But I thought our main character was like quirky enough without being too quirky, and it is kind of like a hate to love, but I don't know, they were kind of set up, you know, by their promoter, agent, that's the word I'm looking for. They were set up by their agent to work together, and he didn't know, and she didn't know that he didn't know, and they're living in his house all of a sudden. So the way it kind of comes together, they're coming together to write this manuscript and hopefully save both of their careers, you know, because he's kind of fallen out of it, and she's been taking care of her dad for so long. She's looking to like springboard her career. Yeah, I just thought it was really funny, really well done, and I would highly recommend it. People that have already read this book due to my recommendation have also loved it and given it 5 stars. So you should too. Moving on to some more recent reads that I gave 5 stars was The Funny Valentine by Courtney Walsh. Keisha has been telling me to read this forever. I've been wanting to read it forever. I really loved her story, Across Country Christmas. That was the first book that I read by her. So I knew I liked her writing. This is part of a series. There's only 2 books out right now, but hopefully there's going to be more in the future. This is A Holiday with Heart romance, the first one, and it does center around kind of Valentine's Day. It's about this hockey player and this like restaurant owner, chef, and they kind of bump into each other, and she says, "Oh, that's my boyfriend," and he goes along with it. And then they just kind of come up with this like mutually beneficial relationship where he can help her restaurant and she can help his image because he's known as like the bad boy on his hockey team. And he's trying to get his teammates, his coach, the fans to kind of like believe in him again. And I just thought it was adorable because they were definitely aware of the agreement that they made, but you could definitely see them falling in love, and it was just so sweet. Like, this one is like sugary sweet, lots of syrup, lots of sugar, lots of honey. Yeah, it was great. And I am planning to read my Lucky Charm this month for St. Patrick's Day. So I'm really excited to continue on in this series. And yeah, I just can't recommend this enough if you're looking for that super sweet rom-com. Next up, a little something darker, All Shall Mourn by Ellie Marney. This is sadly the third and final book in the None Shall Sleep sequence. So it's None Shall Sleep, Some Shall Break, and then this is the third book. This is marketed as YA, but I would say it's an adult. I don't know. I've talked about this series so much. The third book did not disappoint. I don't know if it's my favorite of the series though. I really loved book 1 probably the most, and then book 2 and then book 3, but they're all 5 stars. So it's so hard to like judge or rank, but this one concludes that series. The series is about 2 teenagers. Well, one is I believe 19 and the other is like 20 or 21. They are recruited by the FBI to interview teenage psychopaths while they are behind bars. But because of their skill set and their success with that, they're moved on to like an active case. And they encounter certain people, and it kind of like goes throughout the series. It's very Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, Criminal Minds, Mindhunters, what else? All thrown into one. CSI. Yeah, I loved it. Her writing, I mean, there are some gruesome, bloody, nasty, disgusting scenes that you will not get out of your head. But like, criminals are twisted. And the criminal that they're tracking in this book, twisted, like in the best way, you know. Ellie Marney definitely made some choices in this book, but since it's the third book, I really don't want to tell you. I just want you to try the first book. And if you like the first book, you're gonna like the second and the third, you know. Just trust me. I mean, the first and second books were on my list of best books of last year. So are we surprised that this is making it onto my winter favorites? We shouldn't be, okay? It's so good. Now, this doesn't have an audiobook. This was self-published / indie published because publishers didn't want to publish it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. You got to read it. All right, Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. I am so happy that I have this beautiful edition thanks to my friend Corinna. She's also a patron of mine, so she offered to send me this beautiful copy. Like, is this not me in book form? Like, oh, I love it so much. This is a surprise pregnancy trope. They have a one-night stand. She gets pregnant. She contacts the guy, says, hey, we did the thing happened. And he steps up immediately. He wants her to move in with him so she can save her money and take care of herself. And they just have this great vibe together. Now, I will say it is a little spicy. I mean, it starts with the one night stand and then, you know, it goes from there, and then it does get a little spicy towards the end. But it's just following her pregnancy and what that can mean, like, you know, being pregnant from a one night stand, but also just all of the things that she has to deal with herself because she has like a limb difference, and one of his legs has been amputated. So he has one leg, she has a limb difference. I can't speak to that. I can't speak to if that was good representation, but it felt like it to me. And like the worries, like especially from when, like, is my child going to be born with this? And I can totally like sympathize with her thoughts and her feelings about that. But I just absolutely loved their chemistry so much. And I do plan to continue on in the series because I loved the friendship vibes, and the second book follows the friends, but friendship vibes, the romance, the build up, just everything. So good. So definitely check it out if you're looking for something a little bit spicier, but not like too spicy. You know, it's not like just like spice start to finish. It's a little bit at the beginning, it's a little bit at the end, and it's perfect. So these are the books that I highly recommend that you pick up. They were all 5 stars for me. Let me know if you've read any of these and if any of these are 5 stars for you as well. And that is all for today's video. So if you've made it this far in the video, leave the star emoji in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys are having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.